Welcome to the Joint Base Podcast. If you're new here, we react to everything military. Today is no different. I use my experience with more than a decade spent in the United States military, from everything from a combat paratrooper to military intelligence. Today, inside Germany's most elite special forces. Let's get it.
The KSK is the spearhead of the German armed forces. Their missions include hostage rescues abroad and international counter-terrorism operations.
That's pretty badass.
Over the past 2 incredible years, I was given a truly incredible honor. I was allowed to accompany a group of aspiring commando soldiers during their training.
That's awesome.
Shooting courses right in the very middle of urban combat, undertaking survival training in the Arctic and also at sea. All in different climate zones. Why do I keep doing this over and over again? In the process, I gained insights as deep and intimate as no one before me.
This is going to be good.
Now, I want to share my experiences with you in this series.
Holy crap.
Bazooka.
All right, so I will have to say that this is probably the most recommended video to watch out of all my videos ever. And I will admit I haven't done a whole lot of research on Otto or however you say his name. But to my understanding, he's a prior soldier in the German military. I'm not sure what he did. I'm assuming he was an infantry guy or maybe a special ops guy. But the quality of this video is insane.
It's early morning. It's a chilly 4 degrees Celsius, and we are currently on our way to the land training block with the units of the Special Forces Command, who are now actively being trained. It's going to be very, very exciting, and we're going to see lots of vehicles, lots of tactical stuff, weapons, and much more. I'm really looking forward to this.
That's an awesome opportunity. I would love that.
As soon as we arrive with the soldiers, they immediately start loading up on ammunition. There's no time for a friendly introduction or a chat here. I'm also immediately equipped with gear and have to get ready because the first exercise is about to start and I get to be right up close.
Nice.
The soldiers getting ready with me here are all commando candidates, basically trainees, and they're still right at the beginning of their training. During this phase of training, they learn the basics of conducting an ambush and a raid. Now we're accompanying them during their first practical test.
All right, so I will admit that I'm not very familiar with the KSK selection process. I'm assuming at this point they're already past the selection process and they're in their pipeline to teach them how to be an operator, essentially. But you could correct me if I'm wrong.
The platoon leader has prepared a terrain model where he gives the orders to his platoon. The platoon leader is also still at the beginning of his training. The instructors are only observing from the sidelines. The platoon now has to apply the procedures they've learned over the past few days in a complex situation.
Here is our operation to destroy the target Caesar. Our primary mission is to effectively destroy the high-value target known as Caesar in a carefully planned ambush on a moving vehicle convoy. Regarding our current operational position, we are strategically located back here, awaiting the opportune moment to strike. The terrain around us is represented in the terrain model: forests, green mossy areas, open spaces as wide open spaces, roads winding through the terrain, leading directly to the enemy situation. As already mentioned, we have the primary target Caesar. According to the intelligence we have received, our high-value target is moving with 3 distinct vehicles in a convoy, repeatedly traversing along this specific approach road. The main escape route, as we understand it, runs directly through our designated area of operations.
It's a pretty dang good brief.
The mission. On the main road, it is simulated that a convoy of 3 armored vehicles is moving along the road. The primary goal of the KSK unit is to carry out a decisive ambush on this convoy. The middle vehicle is the designated target Caesar. Inside is a high-value target that absolutely must be neutralized. The team must also expect that additional enemy forces are present in the area. The soldiers do not know exactly where or how many there are. Of course, for the exercise, the convoy is unmanned and the vehicles are already positioned at the ambush site for this reason.
So far, it seems like this is very similar to how most military schools do it, like Ranger School and Sniper School and all these other schools, is where they're going to train you all these different, core competencies, and then they're going to put you in a training exercise to see how well you do. But what immediately stands out to me is these dudes already look squared away. Obviously, to get to this point to where they're at, they're obviously high-speed soldiers. But what kind of camo is this? This freaking camo is sweet. I got to get me a pair.
The squad is divided into different elements: the assault element, the covering element, the command element, and the security element, each with their own distinct tasks. The major challenge in complex operations like this is to effectively keep an overview and coordinate everything correctly.
I'm actually curious to
If
see
you also
how they
want to
take
keep
this
track,
vehicle
don't forget
down.
to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any episodes of the KSK series.
Yes, go check
Just
out
now,
his
the
YouTube
briefing
channel.
at the terrain sandbox was really interesting for me to watch and to understand. Okay, what is the mission here? How is it going to be carried out? Cover group assault elements. Now we're going live and taking a look at how it all looks out in the field. I'm really curious, definitely looking forward to it, so let's go.
So the men are under constant and immense stress for a full 2 years, not because we intentionally create such an environment, but because the rigorous training itself is incredibly intense, with one challenging course after another meticulously scheduled back-to-back,
got a
leaving
freaking
very little
minigun
time
on
for
the back
adequate
of that.
recovery. It truly is 2 intensely demanding years. But looking back now, I have to be completely honest. Those were, without a doubt, the absolute best 2 years I've ever experienced in my entire life.
The soldier accompanying me here, his name is named. He has been with the KSK since year. His rank is major, and his role is training supervisor.
So
Nice.
this here is the formidable MW heavy weapon, which is now being carefully moved up piece by piece. The ground force commander, the assigned and experienced leader, of course knows precisely where his forces are currently positioned. He has already deployed a crucial security element, and together with his skilled scout and his protective cover element, he is already steadily moving ahead. The assault element diligently follows, and the heavy weapon is brought up gradually, piece by piece, to its designated position.
What an opportunity this guy has. I mean, this would be awesome.
We have now taken up an advanced security position. The men have disappeared very well and effectively into the trench here. The scout element will now break off, carefully reconnoiter the precise positions for the cover element and the assault element, and then report back to the leader accordingly and promptly. We have successfully found our designated kill box for the convoy that is to be attacked and utterly destroyed. We have meticulously reconnoitered all the respective positions, and now we will carefully move up. Then, it's simply a matter of patiently waiting until the security element reports, "Attention, a high-value target is rapidly approaching, arrival at X." And at that critical moment, the ground force commander has to act very quickly and decisively.
But for many people who might only know this from movies or something, the whole experience is actually quite exhilarating and truly captivating. It's a reconnaissance mission, then there's a long approach or infiltration into the designated terrain, and then everything really has to go smoothly and flawlessly. So sometimes hours go by, and then it's all over in just a minute.
So just my experience with ambushes in Afghanistan is he's 100% correct. We would ruck march into the location, and we were setting up at locations to where we believed that they were going to place an IED, or where they placed IEDs in the past. So we would ruck there, we'd set up the locations, and we'd wait hours and hours and hours. And, your adrenaline would go up a little bit. And then for the most part, I mean, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. You're not speaking, you're not making noise. It's just absolutely boring, but you have to be ready for that one moment when you actually have to initiate the ambush. And speaking from the other side of it, I've actually been in a near ambush against an enemy, is I can tell you they are very, very effective if they're done correctly.
You have to endure it. The long periods with little stimulation, freezing, sometimes going hungry, all to carry out the mission in that 1 minute. but that's what defines them in the end, the men, and that's what we train them for.
Dang, look at those rucksacks. I mean, even those things are freaking awesome. I noticed they carry high port too. Look at that awesome trench too. Oh God, I wish that was the case.
The men are now slowly moving into the assault starting position. The covering element has already moved, so now it's starting to get dangerous. No movement without a safety vest.
Oh, they do carry low ready. Okay. You know, I've carried like that for many years.
Before the enemy. The covering element is currently taking up its position, and since we're still in training here, if there are one or two details, of course, the instructors will still correct them. Back there in the corner, the Panzerfaust team is being briefed. On the left is the machine gun, the MG, which will, at the appropriate time, move onto the road to carry out the attack on the target up ahead. Of course, we can't have anyone drive up now, so the vehicles are just standing there, but just having the vehicles that can provide covering fire, there's no problem with that. That's already extremely valuable.
It's about to start. It looks wild with the safety vests, but because live fire is being used so close to reality here, it's simply necessary. Same goes for the goggles.
For sure.
Here we go.
I don't know about the goggles, but the vest for sure.
Here, the security element known as North Convoy has just successfully passed my current position. It is now proceeding along the designated access road. The convoy consists of a strength of 3 distinct vehicles. The very last vehicle in the formation is partially armored. Caesar has been 100% positively identified as being located within the middle vehicle of the convoy. The approximate distances maintained between each of the vehicles are about 10 meters. Their current speed is estimated to be about 50 kilometers per hour. They are coming.
It's good intel.
So what's happening now? The dedicated security element has reliably reported that the designated target vehicles, specifically the entire target
because if you hit the lead vehicle too soon,
line,
if they're 10 meters distance, you know, you might not get that middle vehicle into the ambush zone.
That means the men now have only a very crucial short window to get into their final, meticulously prepared positions and prepare the formidable ambush. We're about to use the Panzerfaust MG. Everything will be brought to bear briefly with precision in order to destroy even a partially armored vehicle. And after that critical moment happens, the leader will have the covering fire strategically shifted and will then bring forward his primary assault element to effectively carry out the remainder of the mission. I am truly thinking of everyone here right now. Convoy?
We are now steadily approaching. The very first vehicle is currently positioned right at the extremely challenging and tight hairpin turn. Get ready to prepare yourselves to hammer down with full force in precisely 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hammer it down.
Nice. So they do have it in an L shape.
The assault element, a crucial part of our tactical maneuver, is now steadily advancing from the left flank of the operational area. There we can clearly and distinctly see its coordinated movement, progressing deliberately and strategically towards the designated position, a critical point for engagement. Now, with precision and determination, we observe the assault element stepping out into the open, preparing for the next phase of their mission.
Which should be to assault through the objective. We'll see how they do it then.
Now, of course, we have to be careful. Depending on how the situation develops, as is the case here, at some point there will be an enemy counterattack. Because coordinating an attack is not all that easy for an officer who has to lead it here. There will be a pursuing enemy, the men will be outnumbered and will realize for themselves, okay, what I was talking about, we've now lost our relative superiority. Now we withdraw, regroup, and then try to put as much distance as...
Yeah, I do like how they... From the looks of it, from what I could see, it did look like an L shape. There was guys on the road. There's obviously guys on the wood line. And what we would ultimately want to do is push through the objective and past the objective to set up a level of an advance, or LOA. And that's kind of what it looks like they're doing here. If you go back to the brief, he mentioned that there was potential soldiers all around them. So it looks like they're not going to get a chance to be able to assault the objective. I know, at least within the US and most military forces around the world, we always like to fight at a 1-to-3 ratio. That means that there should be 30 of us to 10 of those.
That means as quickly as possible, we're out for a new mission. Most likely we'll get next orders over the radio. Attention, strong enemy forces approaching from that direction, and the leader on site or ground force commander has to withdraw.
Yes, we expect that this decision will be made, and then we'll see what happens.
He said we expect it. You never know, right?
Enemy down here in the crystal vault. 3 more mics behind the vehicle. Copy that. Move up. Sector 3 has been taken. We're pulling back. They're shifting to the left.
That's really impressive, truly impressive.
I think it's sweet.
They're moving into the back, they're moving into the back, they're moving into the back. Ready, just
The video is being clipped so much I can't really see what's going on. It would be great to see a drone view, but I mean, this is still awesome footage. Looks like they're doing Bound by Fire, which means they're covering them as they move.
At the present moment, both are effectively covering each other's retreat, which means the leader will most likely be in the very middle, roughly overseeing things. He won't have to lead directly. This is a drill that's running, and it's going exactly by the book. Now we are shifting.
to the left.
I would say when I was a infantry drill sergeant, and when I was in the infantry as well, this drill we get trained so much because it was kind of one of those perfect mixtures of a smoke session where, I'm up, he sees me, I'm down, is what they would say. So you're up, you're shooting, and then now the enemy's got you, and then you're getting down. But I mean, you could do, I'm up, he sees me, I'm down all day long and just smoke them. But it definitely lets you know, like, all right, well, how long can you stay up before somebody gets a beat on you? So essentially what they're doing, is bounding Overwatch. Same thing. Somebody's covering them while they move, and once they move, they get set, they're covering their retreat.
This entire intricate orchestra can only truly function effectively if every single member involved has a clear understanding of the overall strategic plan and isn't merely thinking solely on their own individual level, but also 1, 2, or 3 levels higher. This is a relatively simple example here for an offensive operation.
That's how we
But when
train.
it comes to putting things into context in terms of security policy and assessing matters for your higher level leadership, whether political or military, on a diplomatic stage, that's a whole different challenge.
Now, in this scenario, we also don't have any civilians involved, and as already mentioned, there's no geopolitical situation to consider. Here, it's basically the ultra-classic ambush you would set up somewhere in a forest in the middle of nowhere. 3 vehicles, that's it. But if you suddenly add 1,000 more elements to the mix,
And that's what we're ultimately trying to convey, a specific type of offensive operation. But there's a whole other huge portfolio that we try to teach as part of the training so that the men are able to anticipate, assess, process, and provide sound advice, even in different arenas and at different levels.
Yeah, so basically what he was saying is, what if this wasn't in a remote forest? What if this was in a village or in your backyard, and now you have casualties of war and civilians around? And he's essentially saying, yeah, like, this is a basic ambush. We will build it from here. But by no means do I think that these guys are basic. I mean, that was a textbook ambush. and not just a textbook ambush, but then they got hit with another follow-up mission that now they're outnumbered and they have to retreat. I mean, these guys, you can tell at this, they're all solid for sure. I'd say it's going to be pretty hard to record. That looks awesome.
The exercise procedure is the same as it was this.
I wish I can get into it more here. Obviously, this is already an hour-long video. If I start telling you about stories about Afghanistan, like night missions and firefights in the middle of the night, nobody would stick around. But the whole purpose of this channel is to find like-minded people like me that want to hear the same type of stories I want. And so the entire purpose of this YouTube channel is to be able to gain a following and to be able to start up a YouTube podcast featuring, people from Germany, the Philippines, Malaysia, French Foreign Legion, the United States military, you name it, and just kind of, see what things we have in common, what things might be different, and just essentially, that's why it's called joint base, is to bring everyone together under one roof and just build, a platform that we can all enjoy.
Morning or throughout the day. That means the candidates know that now the enemy will launch a strong attack on the platoon. We talked about relative superiority, and now that's about to be lost again. The leader will need to make a crucial and practical decision to skillfully evade immediate threats, to carefully regroup their forces, to effectively consolidate their positions.
I wish I had enough time to tell you about the time that I almost died in a night training mission on Fort Bragg.
As the situation progresses, it inevitably becomes more complex and challenging. Consequently, the men move with greater caution and more slowly. They tend to bunch up more closely, and they are required to coordinate their actions more precisely. We have successfully completed this particular section today. However, what the men do not yet realize is that these demanding circumstances will regrettably continue for them throughout the entire upcoming night. They will undoubtedly have to receive their new urgent orders right away, meticulously prepare themselves for the crucial briefing session, and then immediately set out on a long, arduous march to attack a completely new and vital objective early tomorrow morning.
No. So again, here, as you already mentioned, you're always pushing the limit or trying to expand the boundaries a little bit when it comes to resilience, of course. So it's a mix of physical strain, a march all through the night, and then mental work, issuing orders, figuring out how to coordinate everything. And what we are doing here is just the initial 2-year training program, which means it actually goes even further after this. So you really do go deep into it. Right now, it's just about teaching the fundamental basics, and then you can add more layers on top of that.
You're absolutely right about that. What we're covering here in these 2 years is just a basic training, and even that is already very broad. And after the basic training, the men go on to unit training, where they are then specifically prepared for individual assignments. That means for the rest of their service, they're basically occupied with further training, learning new things, continuing their education, learning new things, and constantly developing themselves.
Very impressive.
The men have had an incredibly exhausting night. They've been marching continuously all night long and will attack the critical objective we clearly see in the background within the next hour and a half. Their crucial mission is to disable a radio station, a hostile radio station indeed. The men have just taken up their positions and are waiting for the signal from their operations center to begin the assault.
So it's a continuous exercise. After marching for countless kilometers, they arrive here exhausted, but must do.
Yesterday, we briefly looked at their faces to check if there was any sign of resentment. No, they stood there, received their orders, and carried them out professionally. That's exactly what we want. And at that moment, we had achieved what we set out to achieve.
And now, looking at the actual scenario down there, we have a small simulated village, basically something like a raid on buildings.
That looks legit too, does it not?
So, what's the objective? I can guess. The truck with shooting targets in front is simulating something.
Of course, even in the challenging exercise scenario, it's not always easy to completely conceal the true intent of our training objectives as much as humanly possible. It's just not truly possible. So, the men have already thoroughly scouted the entire area last night. They know their precise positions. They know that this specific location will indeed be the primary target. They know the exact type, strength, and anticipated behavior of the enemy forces, and will then proceed to destroy this simulated radio station in a swift and decisive raid.
I will say a little bit there. That's probably one of the things that I enjoyed the most about the military, was coming from a combat infantry background, starting off there and then shifting over time to the intelligence side. It's kind of the perfect transition, because you know what those guys on the ground need. As he mentioned, all that intel coming up at the strength, or what kind of weapons that they're carrying, who's expected to be there, what's the ingress and egress routes, like all that intel. That's what these guys need at that moment. And a lot of the times, sure, granted, some of these guys are the ones that are gathering that information that is then turned into intel.
Up ahead, we can already clearly see it with the eye. Their task, simply put, is to watch and report. The men are positioned so that they cannot be detected, but still have the maximum field of view of the target. They observe the type, strength, behavior, number of buildings, vehicles, and movements of the enemy forces. And they are the key element for the assigned leader, because otherwise he has no one to keep watch here, since he often has to work with limited resources. They process the information, pass it on to him, and he can then build his situational awareness and make decisions for his plan. Which is the covering element? Where is the assault element? Where do I concentrate my fire? That is ultimately their task.
That's also why, as you can see, you have several sniper squads or groups, and why the reconnaissance element is so important, because you can only deploy such a small number of personnel, and reconnaissance is absolutely essential. Otherwise, the assault element could end up in a situation where suddenly, I don't know, there are 500 enemy forces.
That could get tight.
Yep.
Reconnaissance in the armed forces, or in any armed forces on this planet, is a constant task during land operations, and is meant to give the assigned commander time to react in the end. That means every unit, not just us, constantly conducts reconnaissance everywhere and at all times, in order to understand as well as possible what is happening around them. So, Otto, behind us, we can now see the position of the covering element. Their core task is ultimately to fire upon the objective and prepare it for assault.
Dude,
Time
they
to
blended
follow
so
the attack
well.
element. This way, the attack element, which is more lightly equipped and needs to be faster, has as little work and as little enemy contact as possible in the end.
People often say that the main defensive weapons are strategically positioned in the covering element. Machine guns, other essential things, heavy machine guns if you happen to have them, grenades, pistols, whatever. It's truly incredible. We almost walked right over it just now. You'd think this is just open terrain, but even here, I have to say, the camouflage works. The multi-tarn is effective, especially since the guys have camouflaged it even further with materials from the surroundings. I'm really curious because with the village now, it's a completely different scenario. It's down there in the basin, so there's a greater shooting distance, especially for the Panzerfaust.
Let's take a look at it.
I'm curious.
Get ready now.
Dude, they have a good budget. There's no denying that. 360-degree security.
We can see it right now in the background. The ground force commander has given the signal to initiate. The covering element is now moving into its position, and we're following them in.
Trying to look at the back of that rucksack, see what kind of frame's on that.
The objective has been stormed, Seychelles was ordered, covering fire is being laid down, and soon the assault element will attack the objective from that direction.
There's already a considerable amount of smoke down there. That was a truly serious amount of fire just now, especially the MG just now indeed.
I'm really curious to see how they're going to do this, because you could tell the minigun, the machine gunner, they initiated the assault. The machine gunner was doing a really good job, 2 to 3 second long bursts, just to save the barrel. And what we would normally do in this, incident is that the assaulting objective that is coming from the flank, we would usually shift the fire to the left if they're assaulting from the right. And then eventually when they assaulted close to us, we would lift the fire. And it would all be done, if it was nighttime, it might be done by flares. If it's daytime, it might be via radio, whatever the case is. I'm really interested in to see how this is going to go here.
Concentrated, heavy weapons fire now continues to persist, as you already know and are well aware. The assault element steadfastly stays in its designated position. The covering elements will now move into their positions, that is fallback positions, to continue supporting the advance of the assault element.
Perfect.
Despite this phase of fire, this seemingly hectic phase, everything is still focused, professional, with quiet radio communication. So I haven't actually
no radio
heard a single shout
okay.
or anything like that, which many might think is typical military behavior. Instead, it was just quick, 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 boom, go. Okay, so even though this is still a training exercise, it already seems very, very smooth to me.
And now, as the men run past the objective, of course they'll also take a look inside the vehicle. In a real situation, they would probably rig the radio station with a small explosive charge, since the machine gun and the armored post couldn't destroy everything. So those are the things happening down there right now, and they'll do them as quickly as possible.
Objective, simulated radio station destroyed.
Exactly. They'll now complete their mission as quickly as possible so they can break contact with the enemy, because we know drone reconnaissance has been here again. We don't have everyone here, and the enemy will attack again from another direction. That means the men will have to withdraw as quickly as possible.
Perfect. I want to say that they told us 7 minutes to be on objective. That's about how long it takes somebody to start hitting you with mortar fire.
Basically, the men are getting ready. They've completed their mission. I just heard that they managed to secure 1 or 2 more SD cards and will now withdraw as quickly as possible. You can already see the vehicle is burning. There are some small explosions, but that's just how it goes.
Alright, there you can also clearly see the immense firepower of the various weapons, where you don't really know, okay, was it a bazooka, a powerful machine gun? A machine gun can also set something on fire, you know? Machine guns have a truly strong and a significant psychological effect on the enemy, and especially with the loud and intimidating sound of an MG, you really don't want to be on the other side of it. It keeps heads down and suppresses enemy movement and can cause a lot of damage. Incredible. So guys, after enduring 2 incredibly tough days with almost no sleep at all and endless marching, running through multiple challenging attack scenarios, it was truly a real and significant effort.
And now I think it's just time for us to take a look at the land block.
I've already seen the vehicles, I'm really curious and looking forward to it.
All right, then let's go.
You can tell he's loving this, right? What a great opportunity he has.
The squad I'm allowed to accompany during vehicle exercises is already very nearly at the end of their training. I'm curious to see what awaits me here.
We're here at the land block training section. For the platoon you've just gotten to know, this is the final phase of training, where we try to give the candidates their final polish as much as possible. The complexity, the stress, and the confusion in this training phase are taken to a whole new level, because it's our only way and our best effort to bring the men as close as possible to the chaos, and you know yourself what it's like, to the chaos of a combat situation. You've just seen the issuing of orders. What did you take away from it? What's the plan right now?
So the plan is that we're on a reconnaissance mission but also have a destruction order. That means reconnaissance vehicles that aren't armored but are heavily armed, reaching a target undetected that needs to be destroyed, and then withdrawing again because there are strong enemy forces in the area. So that's
seems to be a recurring thing with them.
Otherwise, I have to say that there's already a completely different and distinct dynamic here. I truly think you can clearly tell that the guys are at the very end of their intensive training. They're really well coordinated and very confident in their abilities. It's just the next logical step, really, that...
You know, and a lot of y'all have mentioned these in other videos that I've done, is I really appreciate how the German military, and maybe it's just these specialized guys, the KSK guys, but there's no yelling going on. Like, if you're going to build, and this is coming from a guy that used to be a drill sergeant, I disagree with it. I feel like that is outdated. I feel like we adopted that back during Vietnam when we were forcing people into the military in the draft. I feel like in today's world, you know, I should be able to tell somebody to do something. If he does it, it doesn't require any yelling. Now, some people are going to disagree with me, but at least for these specialized guys, it works.
They're more confident, more mature. This is the final phase of training, and after that, the men receive their badge. This is your vehicle, this is your crew. Usually a crew like this consists of 4 men. We have the driver, the gunner, and the commander, and you'll be the 4th man, the rear gunner sitting back there.
You can see him smirking.
Crew. We're about to start. All right?
Dude, I'm going to have to go check out his channel after this. I mean, this video is phenomenal.
This first phase won't be incredibly intense. You saw it during the briefing. They're now moving along various phase lines that they've set for their own coordination. This is the first vehicle. The second vehicle, they're going to do things in leapfrog fashion now. People will dismount, scout ahead slowly, because their main objective is to reach the target undetected. For some background, this vehicle is camouflaged, largely blended in with the surrounding vegetation. You can see the backpacks on the sides, and there are several ammunition boxes attached as well. You might have noticed that the vehicles have different armaments. Here we see the .50 caliber, while another vehicle is equipped with the automatic grenade launcher. Essentially, this particular vehicle is designed for the team, the squad, the unit to operate autonomously for extended periods behind enemy lines, covering long distances and eventually projecting significant effects independently and for truly extended durations.
Yeah, we would use a 50 cal, a Mark 19, 50 cal.
You can already see that the openness of the terrain really demands everything from the candidates, requiring them to move as terrain adapted as possible, crawling and rolling over like caterpillars, getting across as quickly as they can. It's daytime, which means we won't stay here for too long. We'll try to conceal the vehicle's signature as much as possible using camouflage nets in the surrounding natural vegetation. Yes, exactly.
Especially
Please move forward slowly. Just keep going, and then stop now.
So we're now just before the reconnaissance objective, about 1.2 kilometers to go. The men have spotted enemy riflemen along the way and had to evade them. That's why the whole thing took a bit longer. Now we are slowly but surely entering the hot phase even more gradually, and at some point we will inch our way forward, bit by painstaking bit. Look closely, it's already beginning to start.
Blends in pretty good though.
Contact, we have enemy contact. Forward, all units move forward. Enemy sighted directly at 12 o'clock. Be prepared for engagement.
All right, we've been spotted. It's already too late now, indeed.
That's how we would do it. Call out the 3Ds. We would call out the 3Ds, the distance, the direction, and the description of the enemy.
now the crew has to work, coordinate with the other vehicle, change positions forward and back, and all of that while still on the move. The vehicle is moving, so it really doesn't get any tougher than this.
I have to say, that's not something that we normally did, especially during training, but I like it. Makes sense. You gotta keep moving. If you're a stationary target, then you're gonna be pretty easy to hit. For you military guys, is that something that y'all have learned in the German military? It's definitely, I don't recall learning anything like that ever in the US military, that's for sure. Granted, we're driving around in armored vehicles, so it's a little bit different than these guys, specialized.
Slower. They've gotten away.
Oh, they've just deployed smoke.
See, they used to do this in basic training for us, where we would shoot out of a moving vehicle.
We evaded,
but they got rid of that, years later.
Now it absolutely has to be towed.
I wonder if they ever brought it back.
The leader's intention is to continue evading via Schlagen with the vehicle that needs to be towed. So several things are happening at once now. You saw it while moving. It's shaky, dusty, and confusing. The men have to reload ammunition while driving. The gunner has to aim. Information needs to be relayed, and the combat communication has to work.
All with 4 guys.
Well, concealing the route I'm taking to evade using smoke or fire, we still kept encountering the enemy. Everyone
is involved.
Of course, this puts extreme demands on leadership performance, but above all on individual soldiers and their communication.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. We're taking it to the next level and doing it at night too.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate discipline. And if they've managed that, then we know they're ready.
This at night.
Move up now, move up.
Moving now. I like how they're still maintaining their distance from each other just in case somebody hits an IED.
They successfully managed to get the
Also, the road's super
running
dusty.
Again.
I mean, they're
going previously able to roll and move, and they were able to completely repair it once more.
But it really took a lot of power.
Yeah, it's working.
Especially at such a slow speed, of course. You can even gauge yourself. But now time to evade. I think it's really quick.
Now in your position as rear gunner, you can't see what's coming. You always have to be prepared.
Not exactly a restricted field of view, but not a huge one either. Don't know what's going to happen back there. You have to secure everything to the rear, of course. You can brace yourself against it. Of course, there's a lot to do.
I like how they just threw him in with the team.
Can't afford to have anyone dozing off here. These men have been out here for 3 days, barely slept, done a lot of drills. You wouldn't notice it. They look fit, they're young, they're tough. Gas. See the shooting range, the base.
Alright, I know we still got about 20 more minutes, but if you made it this far, you have got to let me know down below. This is a pretty awesome video though, so it's pretty easy to stay engaged here.
Even after this demanding exercise, the entire squad comes together again and everything that happened is thoroughly debriefed. It's truly remarkable how focused and attentive the soldiers remain, even though they've been out here in the field for 3 long days and have been doing such strenuous and challenging exercises.
Is it just me or all of them like super tall?
And Otto, what do you say
about it? Impressive. Up until now, I was only ever allowed to look at the vehicle from the outside all these years, even during my active service. So this was the reconnaissance drive.
Does anyone know what he did?
We moved through the terrain in a way that's quite similar to what I'm familiar with. Slowly moving forward, rolling, pushing out, almost like a caterpillar. But the moment the order switched to, okay, we've got enemy ahead, all hell broke loose in an instant, so to speak. You could really tell how coordinated everything was, whether it was the actions of individual shooters or the leadership performance, where you just know, okay, someone is really under pressure right now, but it never came across that way. The guys just reacted incredibly quickly, laid down fire, maneuvered, and then reloaded or resupplied the vehicle. It was just so dynamic. And the towing, I actually really thought it would take quite a while. We didn't lose even a single kilometer per hour at all, in fact. You
saw it? I thought they had truly fixed the problem with the vehicle and everyone was driving along, and then, at this rather crazy speed, they were being towed.
My instructor said it was a bit too fast. Here, that's just how it is with this terrain. But that just shows what this vehicle is capable of, or what the men are capable of. There's trust among each other, because I think anyone who's ever been towed knows it's not a cool feeling when you're hanging on a rope or a bar, especially when you're dodging the enemy, different targets that appeared.
I must have missed that.
Impressive.
So somebody was being
towed? I really
towed?
have to say thank you for being able to experience this, because it truly is
I
impressive.
completely missed it.
And now you know what I mean when I talk about long training periods, repeating the same procedures over and over, and gradually increasing the difficulty step by step. You saw how focused the men have to be at the end? No one can switch off, even in such complex situations and during such a shooting exercise.
Especially since, in a real-life situation, you might have a reconnaissance phase lasting 4, 5, 6, or even 7 hours before you even reach the target point. And you still have to maintain full awareness the entire time, knowing that something could happen at any moment. We experienced that here, and I think it wasn't actually planned to happen at that point, but it all happened so quickly.
So, for me, it was genuinely and profoundly impressive to witness firsthand the intricate and highly coordinated operations involved in their logistical support, specifically observing that they were not only engaged in primary combat or defensive maneuvers, but were also actively and efficiently loading ammunition. This particular detail stood out significantly because it underscored a comprehensive and well-prepared operational capacity, indicating a deep level of readiness and strategic foresight. The site of personnel meticulously handling and loading various types of ammunition, ensuring that they place sufficient readiness for deployment, conveyed a powerful message about the overall clarity.
Now, during the issuing of orders, they're distributing ammunition. You have to consider it's a full combat loadout. There's really a lot that the guys have to carry for the ER, for the machine guns, for the anti-tank weapons, the handguns, smoke grenades, quick smoke, signal pistols. So the full program is being practiced today. I really think you can't do much more than this. The fact that there's live ammunition involved is already a pretty intense approach. I mean, you can easily film back there the numerous wooden crates filled with spent shell casings. I'd roughly and conservatively estimate that's more than enough for an entire military battalion. Just look at those crates, it's really intense.
Dude, he really does a great job at editing this video. I'm sure he has a team that does it, but man, it's phenomenal.
Going to check the tow ropes again now to make sure they're not running under the backpack somewhere so we don't accidentally rip off any equipment while towing.
Check if the cotter pins are in place on the tow hooks.
Today, the men will be doing an evasive shooting exercise, a dynamic evasive shooting based on the ambush fighter scenario.
I'm really curious. We've already been briefed on the procedure, safety, and by the supervisors. We really have to stick to a few rules because now it's going to get really dynamic, as you said.
What has happened so far? The men have received their ammunition and their combat gear with it. You can already see ammunition in the background, the weapons are loaded and ready. Everything is being prepared now for the upcoming mission.
I like how that officer, the major, hypes it up every time.
We're on the move with 4 vehicles, split into 2 elements. The men will drive into an IED ambush, which will come from the right. The first vehicle will be disabled, and then the designated leader will have to make a decision. What do you think he'll probably do? What do you think?
Depending on how we're split up, you first have to make sure you get fire on a man. An ambush always means you're facing a prepared enemy, so you have to react as quickly as possible in that situation. He'll most probably veer off to the left or to the right, then secure the other critical elements, subsequently tow the vehicle, fall back to the rear area, and probably evade.
I see, so you still remember, it's still deeply ingrained.
Some things really are deeply ingrained.
That was solid. A lot more difficult in real life. I would have to say that we have that SOP, that operating procedure, for a reason. When I was in Afghanistan, unfortunately, I've been behind 2 IEDs. I was always usually the second vehicle. And I can tell you that practicing this operating procedure is paramount, because when an IED goes off, I mean, it is pure chaos. Luckily, the 2 IEDs that we were involved in, we did not have any ambushes that came afterwards. But I can imagine on at least one of those, if the enemy had prepared an ambush, it would have been pretty bad. Oh, so they completely dismounted out of the vehicle. Okay. Got some concealment. So here's the thing that I'm thinking. I know the Mujahideen, when they were fighting Russia, would always hit the rear vehicle. So that kind of changes things a little bit. Oh, nice. I even have targets out there for him. Yeah, if the ambush is within hand grenade range, you have no option but to assault the objective. That's your only option. You cannot retreat.
Upon a thorough and careful examination of the area to my left, I can definitively state that there is absolutely nothing present. The space is entirely devoid of any objects, items, or discernible features whatsoever. It is completely empty, with no elements. Therefore,
oh wow, look at that.
There is nothing on the left side. The fact that
I mean, that target is probably 150, 200 meters away. Hit that no problem. Dude, that's cool.
And what do you say? Super dynamic, of course, how incredibly fast that went. A strong enemy from the right, lay down smoke, dismount, first get some effective fire on the enemy.
Always roll over carefully before attacking when you are going uphill. See, both of us are already out of breath, and the guys are still in full gear, leading at the same time.
It's truly crazy how incredibly quickly and dynamically you can move
I'm
forward.
out of breath just
a brand
watching.
new enemy suddenly appears, and just how incredibly close you end up firing right past them.
Especially crazy with the heavy weapons too. Did you see? It hits right up front here.
He's like the biggest
That's
hype
what
man
sets it
for them.
apart
I
in
love
the
it.
end. At the end of the training, in the decisive moment, it's about bringing just the right amount of aggression against the enemy, making decisions, and as soon as the situation is resolved, withdrawing as quickly as possible, because we actually have another problem. The vehicle is out of commission.
Fire and movement, because really the incredible speed and efficiency at which they are able to bring their full and overwhelming firepower to bear on the designated target, effectively suppress the enemy, engage them decisively, and then strategically withdraw, all while maintaining seamless coordination among each other.
And that's why we need those 2 years to get the men exactly to that level. Incredible.
It's pretty awesome.
So,
that's pretty
even
impressive,
as the training
no
supervisor,
doubt.
I'm completely satisfied. Really great performance from the men. Is it enough, though?
All right. Regarding the vehicle.
Bounding back. God, I mean that's a good distance they travel too. I know I said 200 meters previously, but I don't know, man. That's about 200 meters, I'd say.
We're on the left.
Pretty awesome. I'm surprised they didn't keep anyone up in the machine guns, though.
No, it's actually the rear one. To clarify, I am referring to the first vehicle in the sequence, which has unfortunately been rendered completely out of commission and is no longer operational. This critical situation means that the subsequent vehicle, the one directly behind it, will now be required to move forward and take its place, continuing the progression as originally intended, despite this unexpected setback.
The only issue I see about that, and granted, I'm nobody, right? These guys are a tier 1 group. So the only thing that I see that is a little bit tough is sometimes in Afghanistan and Iraq, they would set up secondary IEDs alongside the route. So they knew our operating procedure. They knew that when that first vehicle was hit, sometimes we'd pull to the right, sometimes we'd pull to the left, like he said at the beginning. And they would set up IEDs in those locations for when people dismounted. Now they could potentially step on an IED. So I guess there's really no perfect scenario. That probably went about as well as it could. So.
Situation update. We have successfully driven the enemy forces off the critical high ground position, and there is currently no discernible enemy activity detected in the immediate vicinity. My intention is that we will carefully and strategically tow vehicle number 1 with vehicle number 2, utilizing the protective cover of both vehicle 3 and vehicle 4. Our goal is to get the car safely over to this designated location. We will then immediately call him as we urgently need his assistance and help. First vehicle, can you please attach the vehicle right now? All right, everyone, please pay close attention to these instructions. He is currently behind the wheel, actively driving the vehicle towards our designated rendezvous point. We will ensure a smooth and efficient connection at the very front of the location. So please make your way over and accompany us without delay. We anticipate having the vehicle securely attached and ready for its intended purpose in just a very short amount of time. Your cooperation in this matter is greatly appreciated as we proceed with these arrangements.
What is this dude typing up an email? Come on, dude.
Get in, please.
No, they are still positioned on the high ground with the enemy force we successfully drove off, but they are slowly disengaging now and are returning to their vehicle. 4 men, Baki, with all your gear, march to your vehicle.
You're all set back there?
Yes, we're good to go. So what just happened? Did you catch that, my friend? Pine fired directly at us, and as was fully expected, our primary vehicle was completely disabled. We promptly dismounted, carefully observed the immediate flanking attack, and then you absolutely had to hook up the second vehicle to the first one, because that's precisely the leader's clear intention, that we get safely towed, then effectively regroup with the other friendly forces, and then finally withdraw together as a cohesive unit. You can already see from the dynamics, now things are calming down a bit, getting a little slower.
He's
all
like,
right,
speak for
towing
yourself.
in 3, 2, 1, and now go.
Otto, did I promise you too much?
Not at all, you didn't promise too much. Very, very dynamic advance, ended up in an ambush. The funny thing is, I didn't know where the ambush would happen. We're just driving along here. I'm thinking, well, if I were to set up an ambush, I'd probably do it right when you drive up this side road. Vehicles are slower, they're funneled into the tunnel, and suddenly, though I thought it would happen much later, bam bam, the windows flip up and everyone immediately opens fire somehow. It was also super coordinated in terms of communication with each other, but not just from the vehicles. Within no time, everyone dismounted, moved forward in squads, and unleashed all their fire. I also found it fascinating to see how close the shots were to each other. So a 4-man squad up on the ridge, the others still engaging the enemy on the right, just a few meters away. Someone went down, got dragged away.
From
the breath,
you know, I felt the same way.
No weapon, no ammunition. I can only say, really impressive.
And that is the level we want to achieve.
There's no denying these guys
That's
are
why,
top
from
shape.
the perspective of the training manager, I'm extremely satisfied with the men. That means the complexity, the chaos, the lack of clarity that we bring together here in a cumulative way, where every man is pushed to his limits again. And you saw, it worked perfectly.
It was really like an orchestra being played there. Very impressive.
I'm glad you liked it.
Too, absolutely. So thank you for letting me see this and for letting me get involved, even if just a little.
All right, so if you stuck around to the end of the video, you have to let us know down in the comment section, because this is by far the longest video I've ever recorded. But if you enjoy videos like this, let me know down in the comment section what you want to see next, and we'll see you on the next one.